to do him with tears. And I said, look, I can't just put tears on your face. You have to cry because your whole face will change. So he sat there and he started to cry. He thought about his family, started to cry, and I drew him.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if they had been tattoo tears, it would mean
Wouldn't
that he
that
had
be
killed
awesome?
people.
Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
One person for each tear.
You know more than I do. Where do you learn that stuff?
From a gay man in Hollywood.
Who liked looking for tattoos?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get people to strip in a second. Show me your tattoos.
Yeah, that one I think they finally took that.
He got deported.
Yeah.
Very young. So.
You did some really good work in jail.
Yeah, these weren't. Yeah, I did. It's a very productive time.
So the muses would come and visit you because it was less crowded in jail.
When the TV went off at night and everybody went to sleep and it was around midnight, and some of the guards loved what I was doing. Some of them didn't. But there was a Latino guard, and he would come by every hour with a flashlight to make sure nobody hung themselves or were doing it in the jail cell or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was in a huge dormitory with like 200 guys, 50 in per whatever. And it was the work crew. I got on a work crew. They sent me the laundry. And I got in a big fight with somebody who was pushing me around, bossing me. He thought he was the boss, and we got into a big screaming thing. And so I had to leave. They put me in the kitchen, and that lasted half an hour because it was too noisy. I couldn't deal with it. And somebody was throwing garbage all over the place. It was insane. I mean, jail's really, it's heavy duty. Yeah, I learned a lot.
Like what?
I learned a lot. Well, like how to relate to people. I'm a loner. I don't know how to relate to people. You know? I mean, haven't you noticed how different?
No.
Well, I related to you. I mean, you're easy.
Yeah. There's some difference, but yeah. You seem like you went through the valley and came out on the other side.
No, it's different.
Were you in jail recently?
Yeah, I was in jail last year in March. I went to Mikey's, the young kid I told you about who's been helping me. It was his 26th birthday. And I knew he was going to have just a smash up.
Yeah.
And he had a party in a campground. And he gave me I had a cell phone number, and I tried to call him. I couldn't get through. And then he told me he was going to go to this place called the Welcome Inn, which is off limits. I'm only allowed to go into one bar because I can dance there. And the judge gave me that leeway. Otherwise, I have to stay away from bars.
So you can go only if you dance.
To the Casper Inn, right? So I snuck into the Welcome Inn because I knew Mikey was going to be absolutely blotto. It was like 12:30 at night. And I found him in there, and he was a mess, and he was on the edge of getting in trouble and fighting with everybody. And he was trying to feed me his drink. And I was thinking, well, if he feeds me his drink, he won't have any more, and that's a good thing. So I gulped it down, and he went outside, and he started kicking my car. I have a '66 Mercedes. Lovingly. He was giving it love taps on the bumper and saying when I die, I had promised him he'd have my car. So he was showing off that this was going to be his car someday, right? And the cops pulled up. And he was on probation. We were in jail together. He and his dad and me were all in jail together, right? That was a trip. So the sheriff recognized me and knew that I was on probation and that I was somewhere where I wasn't supposed to be and smelled my breath and did the whole thing. And so Mikey and I went off to jail together on his birthday. And I broke probation and got another 3 years probation out of it.
You couldn't have just run out into the woods.
I was in the middle of Fort Bragg.
You were what?
I was in the middle of Fort Bragg, and they were tasering him. I've been tasered. That's a nightmare. I know what it feels like. It's a nightmare.